already happened. We're going to move on to a different match here. It is going to be Surrender versus Flurry.
Oh, that's a good
coming right up. And Flurry is going to shield his Hunter and have his Warrior banned. And then, oh, I just marked the wrong ones.
And I think
okay, and Surrender is going to shield his Priest and have his Druid banned out. So Derek, what's with the shield on Hunter?
it speaks very heavily to me that Flurry feels favoured against the Priest with his Hunter, which is somewhat of a contentious point, I think. I wouldn't necessarily snap agree with him. But you can see why he would feel that. A lot of these early aggressive decks that have a good mix of aggression and removal can do very well against the Priest. I'm talking about decks like the Vendetta Rogue, the Burgle Rogues that we've seen knocking about. Zoo can do pretty well as long as the Priest doesn't get the Dream Start. So I think Flurry, especially with Zephyrus, as we can see there knocking about, he could be in a decent spot against the Priest for Surrender, which was shielded. But I think that is really going to be for Surrender the cornerstone of his strategy. Can he get a win with this Priest? Because as we can see, if he lines it up against the Druid, he's in a fantastic spot. Either of the other two, it gets a little bit closer, I think.
I agree, especially with Earthshock as well in the mix for his Shaman. Flurry's lineup overall, again, pretty standard. But not bad, at least with this shield ban strategy. I think if he went to just shield warrior and try and play that out, it wouldn't have gone as well for him. Mainly just because it's just predictable.
Yeah.
But I think shield hunter isn't too bad. Again, the priest is probably going to be the hurdle. And funnily enough, he would have shielded. Obviously, he shields Hunter before he knows what Surrender's shielded.
Yeah.
You know, they sort of shield at the same time, so they don't know each other's shield, and then ban at the same time. Let's take a look at Surrender's lineup and post-shield phase. And it is going to be the Warrior from Surrender, the Combo Priest, and then the Highlander Hunter. So both players, you know, Hunter, I feel, is just sticking around a lot more than I thought it would, at least this week, Darren.
It is. I'm still trying to work my way through the shields and the bans. It's really complicated, I think, and there's even more depth than I would have at first predicted, because I think Flurry, having a look at his lineup, I wonder if he should have just shielded the Warrior, because obviously it was banned by Flurry, but it feels to me like it's got pretty decent matchups in a lot of what Surrender has knocking about. Maybe the fact that there's the Savannah Highmane in his Hunter means that the Warrior from Flurry wouldn't be able to beat Surrender's Hunter, given that it's a little bit more of a top-end build of the deck.
It's beefy in general, right? Houndmaster, and then there's Baited Arrow as well. So there is some more sort of beef in the list overall, but it is very interesting because when a deck that isn't top tier gets shielded, you have to start asking questions, right? Yeah. Because it is a little bit strange, but you know, we are going to see the Priest from Surrender. It is going to be the Bwan Samdi Priest. There is a combo Priest with Bwan Samdi, but Hunter Ace really got it with that one, I think as soon as he played it, I think I was watching one of his early streams when he was streaming it. Yeah, we were both there, weren't we? And I was like, okay, you know, this logically makes sense to me. Yeah. And then I think as soon as other pros tried it and was like, this is busted. I was like, Hunter Ace, you're not supposed to do this. Keep your secrets quiet, because otherwise everyone finds the busted stuff. Yeah. And we all cry on ladder. But anyway, let's get into game number 1 of this series. It's going to be Flurry versus Surrender. Flurry on the top and Surrender on the bottom, both on Hunter.
A battle of, I would say, probably the two most popular Korean players. I think, obviously, Flurry has a very big, obviously, Korean language stream, and Surrender much more popular in the West, I think, due to his HCT performances, where he did very, very well in this. So. And obviously, on two very prestigious teams, this is kind of as good as it gets from two players from the home of esports.
And funny enough, I was watching Flurry the other day, and he played a lot of Control Warrior. It's all gone down the pan now, isn't it? It's like for this game. Yeah, he was streaming a lot of Control Warrior, and now it's just like, oh, okay. I can't watch this. I watched for like...
I'm out.
I watched for nearly an hour, but I think the combination of I can't understand a word that's being said with Control Warrior gameplay, I was like, okay, Flurry, I've done my homework. Yeah, I'm out of here. But yeah, he was playing a lot of Control Warrior. I always dip into Flurry's stream when I can, and Surrenders as well. And yeah, I was kind of surprised that I feel like a lot of players are trying to put a lot of work into this Control Warrior to get the gameplay right. I know RDU was saying the other day that he needs to practice Control Warrior because he's not as good as other players, and you will lose that mirror match if you aren't as good. So just needed to put the work in.
It's the same for me when Tice is playing Warrior. Can't understand a word he's saying, but and the Warrior is a bit much.
Okay, well the old The old Zephyrus on 2 does lead into an Animal Companion, which for Hunter is even better than normal because it goes into the Zul'jin pool. So it's one of the plays I actually like a lot on Hunter with this Zephyrus versus other classes that you can Zephyrus on 2 in, because I almost always pick Animal Companion because it's just a good card.
I was very, very tempted. If I was Surrender, I would have been very tempted to just not play the Zephyrus, because the main reason is, of course, you already have a turn 3 play, and he knew 100% the 3 options the Zephyrus would give him there. And none of them, I would say, were especially good. Like, I fully appreciate that Animal Companion is a good card, but he would rather get the effect later on. If he could play the 3-2 there and say, can I get the Battle Cry in 5 turns or something, he would rather do that, I think. But it's mainly the fact that it's just a 3-2 that he wouldn't have put in play. And this is first and foremost a tempo matchup.
Exactly, and I think that's the big difference, right? Because you say, like, Zephyrus is normally better late game. Generally true, apart from when you need to win the early game, right? Like, and already you can see that Surrender, a little bit unfortunate with the Leok. That was a sick pickup, actually, because he attacked, tested for explosive, it wasn't, and then he rolled Leok, so effectively missed 1 damage. But still, that is a very, very, very good pickup. I even think he could afford to try and trade into the 2-4.
I'm wondering that. Yeah.
Because if it's Snake, you get 3 snakes, you get Houndmaster and a buffed Leok. That's a 4-6.
Wait, why do you want... I was thinking you don't attack into the 2-4 because you don't want to proc snakes.
I just think you can just give him snakes. Like,
I guess.
You know one of them isn't a face attack, right? So you know it's not freezing. You know it's not...
explosive.
Yeah, and I just... You could go face. I just don't know if killing the minions off is more important. I don't know. It's tough. Maybe you just jam 8 to face.
That's what I'm looking at.
Okay, well, there's the tester for the Mystery Secret.
Yeah.
So then we could see Snipe very likely come out of on this Houndmaster.
Yeah. We know the first one is Snipe. We don't know, even as spectators, what the second one is, unless we can get a view from production as to what secret was pulled off the mask contender there, because it's 100% Rat Trap or Pressure Plate at this point.
Or Snakes.
Oh, or Snakes, yeah, one of the 3, I guess, at that point, yeah. So yeah, if we could get a look, that would be very helpful.
Mark shot into trade. I think multi-shot might just be good.
More so than Unleash the Beast. I think I'm taking Unleash the Beast here. I think if you
have so much active stuff though. There's the hyenas. There's hyenas, subject 9 into secrets, and there's the Siamat. That's a lot of stuff to play.
He only draws 2 secrets, or 3 secrets. Okay, which I guess is a fair bit.
Yeah, I like multi-shot here. Because also, again, you get it in the pool.
I guess. Yeah, but you get Unleash the Hounds in the pool.
But you're already going to get it in the pool, right?
Maybe,
because
later on.
But look at all the stuff.
And more is better. Imagine if you could get 4 Unleash the Hounds off of Zul'jin. You just win when that happens. I guess he's dying too quickly. Okay. I don't hate it.
Because more often than not, this multi-shot just kills whatever Surrender plays this turn. Or at least most of it.
What does he play on turn 5?
There's not that much, is there?
Yeah.
And with no secret slide.
It's the worst.
He can't secret coin hyena
I
either.
guess.
So you just kill it off and have, you know, potentially 2 mana to spare.
Fair play to
Play a
you.
secret maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think that he's got the minion coverage done for the next like 4 turns. He has 0 reactive cards.
Yeah. I would just argue that I don't know if he's going to be able to find time to slot this in, but I guess he would really find time to get Unleash the Beast.
Right.
And I always lean towards too greedy styles of play anyway, so I fully understand I may be having my judgment clouded there.
I kind of think sometimes the other way, whereas I like filling the gaps that that I'm missing, right? And what he's missing right now is actually like relatively cheap, decent removal.
All right, game, we get it. Very funny. In 1 turn, he draws the other Unleash the other Unleash.
I told you,
the
Darren.
Perfect multi-shot all at the same time.
Hunter specialist, right? I know how these games go, okay? This is where we live in a weird world where I want to snap once and play Animal Companion. Well, the other way around, actually, because of pressure play.
I wonder.
Why? Well, that would be even worse, right? Because then Animal Companion 100% dies.
I guess. Do you just get it in the pool?
Why don't you just double Snip Snap?
I hate playing one minion against Hunter.
You can play him as 2 separate minions.
I guess. There's no beasts, though, is it? I guess that's fine.
Oh, no.
It's because I always just want to roll Huff and go face.
Hunter specialist, by the way.
Yeah. Look, if there's
It
one,
would be
if
safe.
there's one thing everyone should learn about, I'll say the average Hunter mirroring. We're not talking about like, Death Rattle Hunter from back in the day.
Yeah.
But once you're a certain
Go
portion
face.
ahead of health of
Yeah.
your opponent, you have all the rights in the world to just ignore what your opponent does and go face. Because Flurry has to defend or he will just die eventually. And no matter what Flurry does this turn, he's either spending the time building the turn up to have a stronger turn next turn, or he's, playing defensive. He has to remove in some way. And if he does that, well, guess what? You just press the hero power again. Baited arrow.
Oh, no, I'm with you.
Baited arrow can go face as well.
I fully agree. Surrender should be playing aggressive. Make no mistake.
This might be Hyena, though.
Yeah, at first I was kind of tempted by Siamat, but I think it just lines up too horribly.
Animal Comp Coin Hyena.
Sure.
Because I think you just need a lot of stuff. And unfortunately for Flurry, Explosive Trap does not cut the mustard against 2 Snip Snaps. Yeah, I like this from Flurry. You need that one turn where you just take over and then hope it's enough to get there and it adds up.
Yeah, most stuff possible. And it also leads up to a stronger Siamat next turn where you're not quite so vulnerable to Deadly Shot. So again, Surrender still doesn't know if it's snakes, unless I'm mistaken. I think he still hasn't attacked into a minion. So he still doesn't know whether it's snakes, rat, or pressure plate, because he hasn't activated any of them yet, I don't believe.
I think he starts off with Animal Comp. And goes from there. Because I was going to say, if this is Leok and that ain't pressure plate, that's a lot of damage.
That is a lot of Tamahe.
What about just like Hyena Hero Power?
Yeah.
And just go face and just like, well, now you have to kill a Hyena, a Leok, a full Snip Snap, and 2/1/1. Yeah, let him kill it. You don't have to try and do anything fancy, just let him kill.
What if it's snakes? Yeah, what if it's snakes?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. If you knew it wasn't snakes, I think I wouldn't mind a double trade there.
Oh, really? You put him to 7, you have 3 from Baited Arrow, 2 from Hero Power.
I'd consider it more heavily. I wouldn't hate it.
Oh, he did trade in? Wow. Yeah, knowledge that wasn't
Maybe
snakes.
he had
He did
snakes.
snakes. I don't know. I mean, that attacks it a little bit.
I mean, we don't even know what the secret is. We're just making it confusing.
True secret.
I think it's Rat Trap 100% at this point.
Oof. And this is what I mean. Like, once you're ahead, you just... It's just more and more and more and more ahead in this in almost any Hunter matchup in history. Yeah. Because it just doesn't have good comeback mechanics.
Outside of Zephyrus, which is still knocking about for Flurry, of course.
But even then, okay, take a stab. What would Zephyrus give him for 5 mana this turn is decent?
Oh, I don't know.
But this is what I mean, right? I don't even know what Zephyrus does.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think it would more be magically fast forward mana to 10 and play Zul'jin.
Zephyrus. Not ahead from Surrender, he's thinking, all right, this is sufficiently slow enough for me to still be happy here.
Could just take Siamat, Divine Shield Rush, kill off the 5/3, push more damage to face.
Definitely not that bad. I wonder if you'd also play the 1/1 just to get another card in while playing around Rat Trap, because you want to play 2 cards every single turn, so that you're not forced to play 3 at any point.
Go Zephyrus, Divine Shield, Windfield. Siamat, apologies.
Yes. Yeah. I guess so.
Yep, fair enough. I mean, Surrender can take the damage.
This is significantly more aggressive, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. He can take the hit, right?
Yeah. I like this, actually, yeah.
Oh, Zul'jin.
Oh. Just that little bit too slow. Maybe
Buff it to 8 mana, let's go.
Hunter's Pack can get there just to keep him alive for the next couple turns, but honestly, I don't see it.
It'll be really weird as Surrender takes game number 1 versus Flurry. We can discuss what will be weird later. As, yeah, that was just Surrender just got ahead and stayed ahead, and that's often how Hunter goes. And outside of the hard board flips, like let's say you get a Zilliax or even just a deadly shot when there's no refill, but Surrender just had resources like boof, boof, boof. And then again, you go Zephyrus on 2. Oh, he already has an animal companion. You can animal companion into whatever on 5. You know, you sort of fill the gaps. So it's really good from Surrender, really powerful. Hunter mirror there, going up 1 and 0. And this might be the continuation of the comeback in terms of Surrender into Division A and getting those points back on the board. But we're going to a quick break, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Dylan. I play Hearthstone and my in-game name is Frosty. Favorite Tiki character probably has to be Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. I love his sarcastic wit and charm. Dog person is a fairly good way to describe me. Describe myself in a word, huh? Well, oh, geez, that's a bit of a toughie. Jokester. It's definitely got to be meat lovers, by far. There are a lot of handsome Europeans in the Hearthstone scene. You know, there's quite a few playboys out there, so I suppose if I could turn into another pro, it'd have to be Orange. I mean, he is pretty handsome and good looking, so what can I say?
What's up, Hearthstone fans? Welcome back to another season of The Curve, where we draw the biggest headlines from this past weekend on Curve. I'm your host, Simon Sottle-Welch. Let's do this. Of the 3 Grandmasters that have qualified for BlizzCon, only 2 of them have a win. That's a combined record of 2 and 10 to start off the season. PNC was the first to win a series on Saturday, and Surrender also won once on Sunday. But Fenomeno remains winless. Hopefully, our BlizzCon representatives can pick it up in the next weeks after this slow start. On the flip side, it seems that all the Grandmasters that have won a past World Championship are coming back strong in the second season. Tom 60229 and Hunter Ace are undefeated in their divisions, while Pavel also sits on top of his. Firebat is the only past champion that is not quite sitting in first place, but he is still playing very well. He gave a very convincing performance against Muzzy, which may or may not have cost someone a mustache. As stated previously, Hunter Ace is undefeated. He's won all his matches and has only lost 1 game in the course of 2 weeks. After bringing the innovative Bwonsamdi Priest this past weekend, he's shown us why he's the current reigning Hearthstone champion. Not only has Hunter Ace been doing well in Grandmasters, he also finished the last ladder season at number 1. Some people think he won't lose a single match this season, and it's looking like these people might be right. Ex-caster, Masters Tour extraordinaire, and newcomer to the Grandmaster scene, Gallon, got his first pair of Ws this weekend as he beat Purple and Strifecrow in some very exciting matches. Gallon was able to take some calculated risks that paid off in the Strifecrow series to beat his Priest twice. If you can't watch the whole series, I suggest watching the interview at the end of the match to hear Gallon's thought process through some of the difficult decisions he had to make in those games. In this week's Meta Moment, we want to highlight the Priest deck that has been brought by several Grandmasters this weekend. After being the highest win rate deck overall at the recent Masters Tour event in Seoul, Combo Priest has continued to be a force through the early stages of Grandmasters Season 2. While Divine Spirit and Inner Fire has always been a go-to combo for Priest for several expansions, Saviors of Uldum introduced 2 incredibly powerful tools to help Priest consistently build sticky board states, Psychopomp and High Priest Armet. Armet in particular was used to incredible effect by Hunter Ace to dig himself out of a rough-looking situation in his World Championship rematch against Viper. Despite being targeted by the most recent wave of nerfs, many players are starting to realize that Combo Priest is still going to be a force in Grandmasters going forward. If you missed any of the Grandmasters action, you can check out the VODs on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports. Grandmasters resumes this weekend. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That's it for us. We'll see you in the tavern.
Flurry versus Surrender. is continuing here, and Surrender got a really solid win with that Hunter mirror, but now we're going to find out what they're going to be moving on to progress the series, because I would imagine Surrender's going to be going for this Priest, because even if he takes a loss in the next game, there are only so many decks that are going to be even okay against Priest that Flurry can play, because he can't play Warrior.
Yeah, exactly. And with the Druid being, as I've said, not an auto win, but one of the most favourable matchups, I think, in the meta at the moment, in the Priest versus the Druid, I think he should be in a pretty good spot if he is able to line that one up. But it does sound like we've got a Priest versus Warrior. Sorry, Priest versus Hunter. Yes, sorry, mirror that we've got coming up here, or matchup, which is, I think, one of the reasons why Flurry protected his Hunter, because he would have been fully expecting protection on the Priest from Surrender, and thinks that it's a good enough matchup to warrant not protecting the Warrior, which is obviously one of the best matchups against Priest.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes with Hunter versus Priest, because I feel like Priest is in a spot at the moment where the best you can do is you give yourself a chance, which is when a deck is busted, right? Yeah. It's not like, oh, this is a good matchup. It's like, no, this is my least bad matchup, and this is where I can win, as opposed to, I honestly feel like there are some decks that almost have like low, maybe even 30%, maybe even below that, chances of winning, and that's normally due to the Priest draw versus actually the deck they are playing doing well versus Priest. So let's get into it. Game number 2. Flurry versus Surrender. Flurry on the top on the Hunter, fancying his chances against Surrender's Priest, and Surrender's face, I think, in the mulligan might sum some of this up, where it's like, just be decent, Cleric on 1. And there was no Cleric on 1, whereas Flurry, not a bad opening hand actually, with Freezing Trap into the Mass Contender. Not shabby, definitely not shabby.
I'm liking what I'm seeing for Flurry right now. This is the perfect combination where you've got nice early aggression. The secrets, even on their own, if you ignore the synergy that comes from Masked Contender and Hyena Alpha, even on their own, they are a nightmare to play against as the Priest. Very often, you're just sitting there thinking, please don't be pressure plate, please don't be pressure plate. It is, and you can just lose on the spot against that card, or Freezing Trap as well.
And even sometimes, yeah, with Freezing Trap, you have an option of, if I attack now, I can win. If I attack and it's Freezing Trap, I could lose. I have to make that call, and that is a very, very tough call to make indeed.
Flurry with the Snake Trap here, I wonder if he will consider trading in, because obviously when you have this secret in play leading into Masked Contender, he really wants this to not go off, right? So that he can curve out into the Masked Contender. This does give Surrender not only the chance, but I would say that in all likelihood he will proc the Snake Trap.
It's tough though, right? Because it was his best chance at the secret not going off was playing snakes.
Oh, 100%.
Which means that he had to commit to it. And now Surrender, I think you kind of just roll with it. You can see the snakes now. Yeah, great. Okay, Acolyte, perfect. Sign me up.
And I agree, this is pretty decent for Surrender. I just wonder if it could have been better for Flurry.
How?
By trading it, because then the secret can't be procced. If he'd gone Snake Trap and then trade. And there are obvious downsides for that play, because it's incredibly heads up. You know, you are saying this is Snake Trap.
Right.
That's the only reason you trade there.
Which then still means that Surrender's Acolyte. So is the problem then that ends up actually being the weaker turn by trading in? Because you get a secret now, but you know it's not freezing because it's in hand. And then also, Surrender makes a good turn, and there's no snakes on board. So there's still a 2-3 on this board right now.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, does it in a weird roundabout way end up being worse? It's super odd, right?
Well, if Flurry hadn't found the perfect card of Scavenging Hyena there, it would have been a pretty weak turn for him. You know, he would have had to, I guess, trade in the 1/1s, play Freezing Trap, and then a Shimmerfly. Like, it would have been okay. He would have frozen the Acolyte, which isn't bad. But it's far from the dream of what you're looking to do.
This is tough now, isn't it?
It is. It's a potential res the Nephset turn, which isn't half bad.
I think it just has to, doesn't it? We can draw first.
Well, you can play... How do you sequence this, though? Because if he plays Acolyte... sorry, Wild Pyromancer and it's Snipe, then he's sad. Right, he's got the no Snipe
down.
The big draw. Yeah.
Now he sees no pressure. And now, Is it worth a circle, Mr. Derek?
Draw a card. It doesn't proc Rat Trap. Oh no, it does proc Rat
It does
Trap.
proc Rat Trap.
Huh.
Well, I guess he just doesn't care.
I guess he can make the read that if it was Rat Trap in hand, because he knows that Flurry played Snake Trap over the other secret in his hand. And I think he can make the read that Rat Trap would have been played over the Snake Trap.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Probably.
Okay.
Ooh. And also maybe he's just thinking, I'm in a bad situation, I need to start taking some risks.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is if he doesn't draw, does he even win anyway? Rat Trap or no Rat Trap? Because Surrender has, I feel, one of those priest hands that definitely doesn't play itself and definitely isn't that strong compared to what Flurry's done this game. So Surrender has to do something to get a handle on this game right now. And Mass Contender is going to come down for Flurry, going to pull a secret. And that's going to make Surrender's life even more annoying.
So still a bunch of options that this could be. In, of course, Pressure Plate, Rat Trap, Explosive Trap, Snipe. So many secrets in the deck being played by Flurry. He's gone for the full suite.
Do you like going for Shoot Fly here in general? Maybe because it just gets him a spell, and he doesn't have much to do in the next few turns.
I think so. Like, if Link's made any big break points in terms of trading it in and like killing off a minion or getting the hyena out of range of being killed, I'd go for it.
This
but
is
I think
such
it's
a tough trade, isn't it?
It's
Or
very
non-trade.
likely, yeah.
8 damage. And now Surrender is Pog champing all over the camera right now.
Is he saying, please res Pyromancer perchance?
Yeah, he really wanted Pyro, didn't he?
That is a miserable 50-50 to lose there. Especially as he knows with 2 secrets down, one of them's probably Freezing Trap. So this is going to connect for another 8 damage. Potentially more with the Shimmerfly as well.
What if he just power word shields the pomp?
Power to the pomp.
Just calls it a day.
Sure.
Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't Acolyte, which is good.
Yeah.
Gonna get the news. Yep.
Worst case scenario for him.
At least
I
now,
wonder if he should have attacked first. Maybe.
at least now, Surrender can be like, right, most of these secrets are gone. Let's play some Hearthstone. He can actually play his game right now.
I mean, he can, but not for much longer, because Flurry here, what are we looking at? Like, hero power start kill commanding face. Yeah, this gets real bad real fast. Especially as he can curve hero power kill command face, Dino Tamer brand King Crush face.
That's just like,
You have best.
there you
He's
go.
not winning
There's
this
a
one.
good seed. And you saw, like, again, I think it was that. To me, doesn't happen too often.
It does not.
But you see why Hunter can win, right? Because the secrets are just a nightmare. It's not only the outcome of the secrets and what the secrets do, it's the fact your opponent has to play around them.
It's the
which
fact
I
that they're
think-
secrets.
Yeah, the fact that they are secrets causes more trouble than them actually going off.
Well, 100%.
Because you saw how weird Surrender had to play them, because if it's this, he has to do this. If it's that, he has to do that. What's the biggest punish? Play around that first, and then you make a priority list. But the second it was like number 5 or 4 on like how much of a problem the secret would be, you've already played a bad turn in comparison to what you could have done, which then just starts to stack and stack and stack. And the Mass Contender as well, just pulling more and more, making each turn worse. But Surrender really did stack up there, and now the players are 1-1.
I'm still just running through that scenario in my head, because it was the hyena that was picked up that really made that so perfect of a game there for Flurry. Without that, he would have been a little bit more vulnerable, I think, to just the development that Surrender could have gone for, and that was what led me to believe maybe he should have traded in to get 100% activation on the Snake Trap. But I think overall he had good enough plays outside of that. The Snakes in their own were pretty good minions on the board. So for Flurry there, I think on reflection, he had a good game plan there to go for. He knew what he was trying to do, just lock down the board as consistently as possible, and he executed it well.
Yeah, now the big question is, though, if you say with Flurry's lineup, okay, that's the deck that does well versus Priest. Well, it did well and it won, but that means Priest can be played again. So if Surrender queues Priest now, what's Flurry going to pick? I don't even think Flurry can risk locking in Druid. So he's going to be locking in the Quest Shaman, and it is going to be versus the Priest at confirmation, which I think just has to happen based on what both, like, Warrior and Priest versus Shaman and Druid. If I'm Surrender, that Priest is 100% getting locked, not even a thought. And if that's the case, then Flurry has to lock the Shaman.
I totally agree. And even in the case that the Priest had not been locked and it would have been the Warrior locked in, I think that the Shaman would still have had a good shot for Flurry because it's a slightly heavier build of the Shaman. He's got obviously the 2 Bog Sloshers and the Life Drinkers to go for a more aggressive game plan. He's also got Swamp Queen Hagatha right up at the top of the deck list, which is not always the way you want to go against Warrior. Like, extra value is not always perfect, but I think just having an extra big minion like that and being able to find Bloodlust, Stormbringers, Rain of Toads, Lava Bursts to go face, things like that make for a very, very strong game plan.
Now we see deciding game here for this series. Surrender getting rid of everything but the heroic Northshire Cleric. Oh. And Flurry. His mulligan looked okay as far as I remember. There we go.
I'm almost surprised to see Surrender mulligan away the beaming sidekick there, because I feel like going nice and tall on 1 minion in this matchup is a pretty good way to lock down the early game. Like, I guess the Earthshock is what deterred him, but Surrender, if Flurry's list didn't have Earthshock, I would honestly consider a full keep there of Divine Spirit, Inner Fire, Beaming Sidekick, and Cleric, because you just make a 10-10 on turn 3 and win the game. What can they do? There's literally nothing they can do.
It's normally game over, isn't it?
It's normally game over. Even in this, I would have considered going all in because it's a one-of in the deck. They're probably going to keep it in the mulligan, I think it's fair to say. But that could have just ended the game on the spot because Shaman is very, very light on hard removal.
Now, every current Hearthstone player's nightmare. Double Priest. Double Priest, double Cleric.
Yeah. As Surrender just says, please no Goblin Lackey, please no Goblin Lackey. All right, we're good.
Oh, this circle. Look at Flurry. Flurry's braced himself. He's literally gone right.
This turn is so powerful.
He just cracked his neck a little bit, got comfortable in his chair, grabbed onto the armrest and gone, hit me with this Priest attack. And that is just...
This is the dream. This is the absolute dream. Powered Shield on 1, Beaming Sidekick on the other. Like, Surrender doesn't even have to go all in at this point. He could do. We could just see Powered Shield and Beaming Sidekick on 1 and then hit for 10 next turn. Hit for 14, sorry.
This is the nightmare because, okay, Surrender goes all in. I'll put in air quotes.
Yeah.
And like, okay, Flurry Earthshocks it. Okay, Surrender does
Damn it.
anything else.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Flurry's not got any Earthshocks game.
I like this.
That's how it feels versus Priest so much. It's like, I answered their first minion. What about the next 3? You did.
This is where we maybe would have, players would have liked to have, or sorry, Flurry would have been happy if he'd gone for the kind of Quest Shaman list that Psycho had brought last week, I believe, to Grandmasters, where he was running Hungry Crab and Plague of Murlocs, importantly, to be able to counteract big boards like this.
I honestly don't think Plague of Murlocs is that bad a card to
I think it's
run.
a very strong card.
If you're in trouble, Plague. It's like, and people could be like, oh yeah, but what if they get like War Leader, Blue Girl? It's like, yeah, but they don't. Normally they get stuff that's very killable.
I have lost to that card being discovered while playing Quest Paladin too many times. Too many times. And as we said, for Surrender here, he is going kind of all in here, but basically says if you don't have exactly Earthshock, the game ends, and if you do, I carry on.
That didn't look like an Earthshock.
Yep,
So
there we go.
Taunt?
Okay,
Taunt
fair
over?
play.
Question mark? Oh!
Okay.
What a god!
Absolute champion.
No! Topsy-turvy! Surrender's life has been flipped upside down as he just takes the win there over the Taunt.
That is the exact face you make when you top deck Topsy-Turvy. Like, yep.
All I want now is a soundboard of what I heard from Derek's room yesterday when he was playing. I'm just going, like, because that happens on ladder quite a lot. You just die.
That is a wall punch moment right there.
And this is the problem, isn't it? Like, that game obviously felt, for an average viewer, felt very silly, right? And the deck is...
For an experienced viewer, it felt very silly.
Feels even sillier, because we know better. No, but my point being is the deck is extremely powerful, and Earthshock would have... I wouldn't have even said would have won the game. it would have just prolonged the game.
He would have been
and
behind.
I think Surrender would have still just won because he would have played Amit, and it's like, now all my minions can kill you.
I completely agree.
So I don't even know what the answer is to this deck, and I'm surprised more people aren't bringing it, because you can argue, I'm going over the top of course, but you could argue that if you just bring Priest and shield it, unless someone is bringing a weird strategy that hard targets Priest, which is too extreme to do, then you 1-0 if you queue it up at the start. You know, you get a win, and then it's about what the rest of your lineup can do. That's the trick. But I feel like Priest is that powerful that it's just so unlikely to go 0-2 if you just queue your shielded Priest. Can't be banned, can't really be countered. I'm surprised we don't see Priest in way more lineups.
Yeah, I am surprised as well. I don't think it's maybe quite so cut and dry as you portray it to be. Like, I think, you know, if your opponent is starting to shield Warrior a lot of the time, that can get a bit messy, because I think that is, in my opinion, despite what some players are saying, they think it's favorable, I still think a pretty poor matchup for the Priest. But I fully agree it should be represented a lot more, because almost everyone has Quest Druid. Fantastic matchup that you've got yourself there. I would argue against the Quest Shamans. It's too slow for the Shaman to be able to counteract a lot of the time what the Priest is doing. Even against the Warrior, it's not that bad. And also with a lot of Rogues falling by the wayside pretty much completely, which I would argue is one of the better decks against Priest.
You actually have cards that can kill stuff.
Right, exactly.
Like,
especially the Burgle Vendetta package. I think that the Priest can struggle there, but at the moment, 100% agree. Priest should be played more.
It's so crazy for me. Purely because even if you say, okay, well, they shield Warrior and win with Warrior, can they win with anything else? I mean, maybe Hunter. I don't know. I think it's super dicey, and Priest probably isn't going to be nerfed